Hi there, this is Jon Anderson, and you're listening to Rock at Night.
Are you ready? Tonight I'm gonna take you on a little trip. We're going down south by the mighty Mississippi. I'm gonna take you to a place where lights never dim. Bring your mother, your brother, and your best friend. I'm gonna show you where they dance out in the street. They'll tell you all about your body heat. Not gonna talk about it, just gonna do it. Get on down if you feel up good. Get on down.
Hello everyone and welcome one more time to the Rock at Night podcast series. Today is a very special day for me, one that will go down in my personal history. I was born in Cuba and spent most of my youth dreaming of attending a concert, of meeting my musical idols, and even of having the chance to talk to one of them. Many of my dreams came true after coming to the US, and today is one of those days when you can accomplish something you did not even dream about. My guest this afternoon is not only a musician, singer and songwriter, but also one of the most legendary personalities in the history of progressive rock. It is a complete honor to have the opportunity to talk to him, and instead of doing myself the usual introduction, I will allow him to go ahead and tell us his name and where he's from.
Hi there, this is Jon Anderson. I'm from England, the north of England, and I started in music in 1963, before most of you were born. And I had a band called the Warriors. I started with my brother Tony. We went to see the Beatles. 1963 in Liverpool. Amazing. And from then on, I wanted to be a Beatle, but I kept working hard, and it was wonderful, always wonderful to know the music will keep you going. And eventually I started a band called Yes, and maybe some of you know this band, Yes, for years and years and years and years and years. See you later.
Right on, John. That was an incredible introduction, and you're totally right. When I was born in 1973, you with Yes have like 5 records under your belt already. Before jumping straight to the questions, I would like to thank you for taking some time off your schedule and talking to me and the Rock and Night listeners. We are really thrilled of having you here today.
Good.
John, I'm pretty sure you have been interviewed and talked about your beginnings and how you rose to fame with Yes millions of times. So I would like to ask you some different questions this time around.
Please.
All right, so let's just go back a couple of years. 2014 saw you taking part of the Progressive Nation at Sea Cruise, and you fronted the closing performance, playing with Transatlantic and an all-star cast of rock heavy hitters, in front of hundreds of ecstatic fans, who claimed that night to be one of the most incredible experiences of their lives. I was there in the first row, and thinking of it still gives me goosebumps. It was a grandiose night, like no other in my humble opinion. What are your memories, John, about that show and the cruise in general?
Well, this first time that I've been on the boat trip, and I enjoyed doing my solo show, but then I enjoyed so much singing some classic Yes music with the band Transatlantic, and I formed a friendship with Rowan Stout, the guitar player. And we just finished an album together now.
I'll be asking you really soon about this collaboration you just mentioned with Rolling Stone, but doing the things a little bit more in chronological order, I would like to talk first about the album that you just released on the Anderson Ponty moniker, which is A Scene of Beauty. Even the Yes songs have gained a new breath of air with the new arrangements and the magic of Ponty's violin. Was this a project you wanted to do for some time, or this came to fruition recently?
Well, I knew Jean-Luc Ponty from late 1970s. He was playing in my Vishnu Orchestra, and Yes did a tour in Texas and some parts of America with the band, and we became friends. So it took time, but eventually we got together a couple of years ago and started to do a show, which is the DVD called Better Late Than Never. And to work with Jean-Luc is like a treasure, because he is remarkable violin player, a great musician, and he's played with some of the great musicians of the past, Frank Zappa, all these kind of great people, Stanley Clarke, and to work with him is really fantastic.
As I said before, this album is the perfect confluence of two wonderful talents. You and Ponty blend together extremely well and have produced a fantastic new mix of old and new music, and you have done so using a recording style that is at the same time risky and highly rewarding.
Thank you.
As you mentioned it earlier, it's been announced the upcoming release of a collaboration album of yours with Swedish guitarist, vocalist, and composer Rowan Stoll, well known as one of the driving forces process behind the Flower Kings. As per the announced track list, there are only 4 songs in the album, ranking from 11 to 23 minutes long. The artwork is completely beautiful, and many fans like me are wondering about what the music will be like. Are there any clues you can share with us today without spilling the beans?
Well, it's music that we enjoyed creating, and it's long-form music for people that can relax, put their headphones on, and take their time and listen to some music. And it's a musical journey. It's very, for me, of course, it's exciting because it's the next step of my career, and I'm very, very happy about it.
Well, I must say that it is wonderful to see 2 complete different generations of prog musicians working together. And many progressive fans around the world will be looking forward to this album. Now let's go a little bit more back in time. Let's talk about your first solo album, Elias of Sun Halo. Many consider this album a now inspiring masterpiece, a real celebration of what progressive music is about. What could become the sequel of this first album has been in the works for many, many years. And I remember you were asked during Progressive Nation at Sea Q&A, and you said, "It will happen when it happens," which was like some sort of a cryptic answer. Are there any updates about how that creative process is coming along?
Well, my good friend in Poland, Chris, is working on the visualization, and the concept is working. We've done some rough ideas of being able to create 4 to 5 hours of music. So every time you go to the application, you can go on different musical journeys every time you go there. You don't have to just listen to the album over and over. You can do that, but also you can listen to all the music of all the albums at the same time, like a long journey every time you go. And it's just a different concept of musical presentation with visuals and computer animation, the storytelling, and information about the world and the planet and how things work.
So, based on what you just said, it would be accurate to say that this is a lifetime project of yours, which is still in the works, correct?
Well, once we set up the project, it runs for the rest of my life, and I continue to add music to it every year. It's an ongoing exploration of musical ideas, storytelling, and information that comes through the internet from things that I see, read about. I explain in the project. So people would join the experience and be able to learn as much as I'm learning every month. I learn something different, and they will learn the same thing. Yesterday, I was learning about the future of holography, and it was incredible. So I will put this into my project, and people then will spend time listening to music, reading, looking at art, and at the same time learning what I'm learning at the same time.
Those are great news, to be honest. I mean, Elias' sequel has become like some sort of a myth. So many pro fans would be really happy to hear about this. Now let's jump a little bit to the future. Let's look ahead. There have been some rumors floating around about a long-anticipated Anderson, Rabin, and Wakeman project. Rick Wakeman himself confirmed it via his website last January. So my question is, do you think that it would be realistic to expect an album and some tour dates in the foreseeable future?
Yes, I'm working with Trevor and Rick already on some musical concept. So we start next week, a few things. I'm going down to see Trevor, and then we'll get together in June and July and finish the concept. And then hopefully we will tour later this year in the USA, and then next year go to Europe and around the world if we can, because we have a big dream that my understanding of Yes Music is still very, very strong. I never let go of Yes Music. It's part of my DNA. So I'm very excited of the future.
Well, this could become the album that many generations, the old and the new, will be looking forward to. Now, let's go to a more mythical question. If we could take the Jon Anderson of the mid-70s, when Yes was at their heyday, or the Jon Anderson of the late 70s and early 80s working with Vangelis, and Jon Anderson nowadays and compare them musically speaking? Would you say that they are two different personalities, or there's an essence of you which have remained the same through the years?
I'm the same person. I'm the same guy that I started 50 years ago. So I'm just excited to make music. I'm very blessed to have a wonderful, beautiful wife, and my children are growing up. My grandchildren are slowly growing. It's a very powerful time in our world. We're going through a big, big change, and I'm happy to be part of the change. I was listening to Bono from U2 yesterday on the television about changing the world, you know. The world has got to change. We can't have so many refugees in the world. Why? It's so wrong. And I remember singing a song with Yes many years ago. If we are one on this planet, then we're all refugees, because there are so many refugees. And it's easy to change. Sorry, I get carried away.
Well, it seems that you keep going ahead of myself during this interview, because my next question is exactly about this. Do you think your spirituality has impacted your songwriting and compositional style?
Of course. You know, I grew up not knowing what God really truly was, and now I understand that God is all that is. We are all connected on this planet Earth. We are all in Christ energy. From every religion is Christ energy. So why do we always have to argue? It's very simple.
Now, looking at the past and at the future at the same time. After more than 4 decades composing, singing, touring the world with dozens of legendary musicians, what is still in Jon Anderson's bucket list?
Oh, well, I had one of my best moments last year. My wife, she organized my trip with her. We went to Finland to hear the Sibelius symphonies. It was his 150th anniversary in Lahti in Finland. And we had the best time. That was first on my bucket list. I think I would like to go and spend time and see the beautiful animals of the world in Africa. That's another one. I think I would love to sing with Stevie Wonder. That's another one. I think I have a long list.
Now landing one more time in the present, one final question, Jon. I mentioned it before, the Anderson Ponti album, and I believe that this album is a record that can take you back to places thought lost long ago, with a whole new set of eyes, ears, and a sense of appreciation. I know of no other album that better brings together the golden age of progressive music and the modern era. Will it be safe to say this is a collaboration that will continue in the future?
Yes, we've written some songs this year, and we talk about working with the orchestra idea that when we first talked on tour last year, we talked about it would be beautiful to compose something specially for a small chamber orchestra with violin from Jean-Luc and me singing. It would be very special, something very different, you know.
Jon, it's been beyond wonderful to have the chance to chat with you this afternoon.
I wish you well.
I want to wish you, on my behalf and on the name of all the Rock and Night listeners, the greatest success in your upcoming tour supporting the Better Late Than Never album and in any musical endeavor you might follow in the future.
Right.
And personally, I want to thank you for all the years of musical pressure. Your creations have made the world a much better place to live in.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Love and good wishes to everybody listening.
This chat with you, Jon, just made my day, and I can only wish you nothing but health, prosperity, and many more musical adventures in the years to come. Be safe, and thank you one more time.
Thank you very much.